I grew up in Alabama, and the South is poisoned. And you might think that it's poisoned because of slavery, and that has something to do with it, but it's not as direct as that might seem. What it's really poisoned by is the fact that it can't accept that it lost the Civil War. You know, you see all these things that say, forget hell, and it's got some old Confederate general. And like one time I used to teach school, and I had this student, because I taught in Georgia, and he had a shirt on, white kid, that had the rebel flag and said, never surrender. And so the class was doing something quietly, and I called him up to the desk. I said, have you ever heard of Appomattox? And he's like, what is that, Mr. Montgomery? And I said, nothing, don't worry about it, just sit back down, because I couldn't explain it to him that he doesn't understand that they've already surrendered, that they lost. And the South has to process the fact that they lost and accept that, and accept that they should have lost, that they were wrong in the conflict, and it really was about slavery, and they shouldn't have won. It's a good thing that the North won. And my mother was an Indian from Pembroke, North Carolina, and so I didn't grow up indoctrinated into that, never forget. My father was that way. And we would ride through small southern towns, and he would talk about the statues of the Civil War. And I just thought he was a complete idiot, because I had gone to school. I knew what the war was about, and I didn't have a mother, who's with reinforcing that stuff through love. So I didn't fall for that whole spell of the South, but it's seriously poisoned, and mostly because my wife was an accountant who worked for a Fortune 500 company. You would go in her office and look out her office window and see hawks circling below you. Well, the company she worked for, they took over Western Union, or I think it was a big northern company. And the day they took it over, all the CEOs, the next day they wore Confederate uniforms to work, and it was all about the South taking, getting back. I'm not kidding. That actually happened. And it's just all throughout white Southern culture. There's a certain poison about that defeat that just lives in most every heart, and just wrecks their insides, because they can't stop feeling like losers and just let it go.